The world's an attention economy. That was kind of clickbaity, but let me get into it. What's up, everybody? My name is Brad. I am the director and founder of CAYA Creative Studios and CAYA Creative Productions, a bespoke turnkey digital media studio and production company based here in Cape Town. In this video, I want to share with you 5 of my biggest lessons about brand building, creativity, entrepreneurship and sales in the digital space that I've learned over the last 6 months of our production company in operation. Like I said, the world is largely an attention economy, and what an attention economy means is that if you have people's attention, you can inform their purchasing habits, their socio-economic, their cultural behaviors, their political opinions, and more. The supply of attention is through the roof. The world is now more connected than it ever has been. Thanks to the rise of social media and digital media platforms, more than half of the world's population at the moment are active on social media. What does this mean? Well, it means that more and more people spend more and more of their time on these platforms and increasingly make all sorts of decisions, including purchasing decisions, based on information that they see on social media. If you're not using this knowledge to help people make purchasing decisions that favor you, you're missing out on the biggest opportunity of your career. But what about the demand for attention? There's not only a hell of a lot more supply, but the demand for that attention is now way higher. If you think about it, every one of those 4 billion odd people who are now active on social media are not only a consumer of digital media, but they also have the capacity to be a producer. What does that mean? You now have to shine through the oversupply of not only every other brand who's now trying to get on social media, but you also need to shine through the actual content being produced by people's family and friends, which is way harder. Think about it. If you had to choose between looking at a friend's Instagram post or really engaging with a company's boring, corporate graphic ad, which would you do? And I'm going to take that question a step further. If you had to choose between engaging with the content from a friend or a family member, whether that's an Instagram photo of their holiday or a LinkedIn update, versus your own brand's digital media or social media content, which would you do? Think about the answer. If the answer is that you would rather engage with your brands, you can click off now. In fact, please send me an email because I really want to learn from you. If you wouldn't rather engage with your brand stuff, then keep watching because the rest of this video is for you. The second of the big lessons that I've learned over the last 6 odd months of running CAYA Creative Productions is that story is everything. The greatest filmmakers, actors, poets, musicians, songwriters all know this to be true. Without a story that connects with people and shines through, no matter how good your production quality is, it's not going to work. It's going to fall flat because people love stories. Human beings have used stories since we started communicating to further our social and cultural understanding of the world and the people that we live with. Your story and your journey as a brand, individual, or as a team is the one thing that can truly set you apart in this highly competitive attention economy, because it's really cliche, but no one else does it like you do. What's the best part about this? We live today in a world that is more connected than ever before. You can now tell your story to more people with less limitations in more platforms and more formats that works even better for your ideal audience. You can now tell your brand story to more people than ever before in more ways than ever before. The worst part, your consumer now has access to information about a whole bunch of people that may do something very similar to what you do, who may have been in the industry for longer or who do it better. So what is the one thing that you have that can really set you apart and make a connection with a consumer? Your story. Figure out your story, figure out how it relates to your audience, and figure out how to tell it to them as effectively as possible in as many ways as possible. The third lesson that I learned is that a clean corporate social media just isn't it anymore. Remember, your audience is now the most educated, most exposed, and frankly, most cynical audience or demographic in human history. Especially the younger age brackets, who tend to be the most influential in terms of influencing culture and thus purchasing habits. We know what an ad looks like, and we know what it feels like when we're being sold to. And when there's so much incredible free entertainment at our fingertips, why would we engage with a platform or a post or a profile that doesn't entertain us? When I come across a clean corporate social media page with beautiful graphic design, perfect color matching, that looks like it was frankly created by someone working off a brand guide and not much creativity, it turns me off. I'm going to click away. I'm not interested. On the other hand, if I encounter a brand's profile, which is engaging and somehow connects to my interests and tells me how I relate to this brand, I'm all of a sudden so much more engaged and so much more likely to not only potentially buy from them, but to become a regular follower of that brand because I feel like they see me or they relate to something that I relate to. All of a sudden, I've now got a personal connection with this brand. They're no longer providing me with a product or a service, but they are a group of people who I can relate to who happen to be providing me with this product or service. Your personality, your team's unique characteristics, your relationships with one another, and your relationships with your clients are what can really set you apart. It's definitely not a pretty clean corporate social media or really aesthetic website because, again, with the proliferation of so many web development technologies, anyone can do that. What matters is you and your story. You have to give your prospective audience as many reasons as possible to follow you and engage with and invest their time in your brand. The best way to do that is to tell them who you are, what you do, and how you can help them. What's a great way to do that, I hear you ask? Well, that gets to our fourth point. Connect with these people based on two of the things that human beings hold the most dear, your interests and your values. Remember, we're a social species. All we want, fundamentally, is to connect with other people based on shared interests and values. The COVID-19 pandemic has left human beings sorely lacking in this kind of connection and interaction. People want to connect now more than they ever have. This is a consumer base that is more diverse, more expressive, and more exposed to a variety of interests than ever before. So if you can show them how your brand or your interests and values align with some of theirs, you're not only a brand to them, you're a group of people who shares interests and values with them. Meaning they now not only know about your brand and who you are, but they feel connected to you and your brand in some way. The rise of user-created digital media and algorithm-based social media feeds has meant that there's now a subgenre for pretty much any interest on the planet, with potential reach all over the globe. Basically, create content for what you're genuinely interested in and how that affects your business, and the audience will come. This is also the most conscientious and value-driven customer base of all time. Each generation in human history understands the devastating impact of humankind's actions and inactions much better than the generation before them. And they understand the powerful effect of their purchasing power and where they choose to deploy it. If you can't show how your company treats the people, environments, and spaces that it has impact on, you'll lose out to a company who can and does. They'll even pay more for your products if you can show that you're value-driven and that those values align with those of your audience, for example, Patagonia. The fifth lesson I've learned is to show and not to tell. In the blog, I'm sure of it, and in this slightly less sure, that I don't tell you to tell anyone anything. I ask you to show them. We all know the adage saying, actions speak louder than words, but how many of us really implement that when we're trying to tell our brand story? This links back to the third point about how your clean corporate social media just doesn't work anymore. This is an audience that can spot a TVC television commercial or an ad a mile away and just doesn't care. Your audience is on these platforms for entertainment and enjoyment, insight or information, not to buy your product based on a repurposed TV ad. So why do you think they wouldn't just immediately swipe past? You have to grab their attention, you have to tell your story well, you have to relate to your audience, and you have to show them your values. What better way than using organic content to show off your personality and field expertise while showcasing your network and going in depth on what you offer and why it's valuable? Your honesty, realness, and vulnerability by being a person will bring way more customers to your door than any other form of ads or customer acquisition. And you know what the best part is? With organic content that's brand aligned, you can just have conversations, create content around your interest, the things that you're most interested in, the things you find the most value in, and have conversations with people whose time and insight you value the most. So this organic content development can have real business development utility while you're doing it. If you work with a team that's experienced in this kind of content production and collateralization in particular, you can create a single piece of organic content that can then be collateralized down into a variety of different mediums, ensuring that your content can live on for you in a variety of mediums, communicating with people the best way for the platform that they're on. This means that you can target specific subsets of your audience based on their platform and consumption patterns, whilst ensuring that your content on whatever platform it is obeying conventional best practices for content on that platform. If you're interested in really growing your brand and telling your brand story in the most efficient, effective, and fun way possible, with a team who's doing this for some of the biggest creators, brands, and media platforms in the space, please get in touch with us at CAYA Creative Productions to arrange a discovery call. We'd really love to help tell your brand story to your audience and help you connect with your audience on a deeper level. If you enjoyed this video, if you found some value in it, please make sure to like the video, subscribe, leave a comment if you think there's anything that I've missed or an important lesson that you found in this field, and make sure to subscribe, ring the notification bell so that you get notified when I or anyone else on my team releases a new video. Thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to watch some more, you can watch some of our most recent projects here or learn a little bit more about the story of CAYA here. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.